So this is a video on the semester 2 review, RFF number 2, review for second semester with the dice. So they want us to write the summation notation for this. So number 1, we need to decide if this is arithmetic or geometric. Seeing this type of an answer after everything else that are nice, I'm thinking that maybe this is geometric. So I'm thinking that I'm taking 1425 times it by something, I'm going to call it R, to get 570. Let me divide both sides. So 570 divided by 5. It's a little more focused. And I end up with 0.4. Let's make sure that that works. So let me take that times it by 570 and hope I get 228. Okay. So now I know that in terms of summation notation, the equation is going to be 1425 times 0.4 to the n minus 1. That's going to be my equation. I need to figure out what term the 5.8368 is. So I'm going to set that equal to 5.8368. Okay, all I'm doing right now is finding a sub n. And so I am going to divide both sides by the 1425. So let me take 5.8368 divided by 1425. And I end up getting 0.004096. I am going to rewrite this in logarithmic form. So to rewrite this in logarithmic form, I'm going to take log base 0.4 of 0.004, that's a 4, 0.096 is equal to n minus 1. I'm going to put that into my calculator, and then my final answer I'm going to add 1 to. So to do that, I'm going to go alpha window, and number 5 gives me a log. I'm going to put in 0.4, 0.004096. And I get 6. So this is 6 is equal to n minus 1. So n is 7. So why did I need that? So that when I write it in summation form, summation notation, n equals 1 to 7, because that's what this term right here was. That was my 7th term. And then I write my equation. So 1425 times 0.4 to the n minus 1. That is our equation in summation notation. Okay, on number 2, find the first term of an arithmetic sequence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my 3rd term. So this is an arithmetic sequence, and I am starting with my 3rd term. I'm going to write a sub n in terms of my 3rd term. My 3rd term is 12. I'm adding something, I'm going to call it d, n minus 3 times if I'm starting with my 3rd term. So now I am going to take this 82 and put that in here. Now that is my 13th term, so I'm going to go 13 minus 3. So I end up getting 82 is equal to 12 plus 10d. I'm going to minus 12, so I get 70 is equal to 10d. So d is equal to 7, so I'm adding 7. Okay, so at this point, if I want to find my first term, I am going to, let's move this over here. I am going to take this equation here, and I'm going to put in my d, which is 7. So my equation is going to be a sub n is equal to 12 plus 7 times n minus 3. Okay, I'm starting with my third term. And then if I want to find my first term, I'm going to put a 1 in there. So a sub 1 is going to equal 12 plus 7 times 1 minus 3. So I get 12 plus 7 times negative 2. So that's going to be a negative 14. So my A1 is equal to negative 2. That's my first term. So on number 3, find the indicated sum. Okay. So this is going to be a geometric sequence. I want S sub 16. And the formula for this is going to be here. Let me just write A sub n, S sub n first. A sub 1 times 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r. That's our formula. And so I want my 16th term. My first term is the 6, but if I'm not sure, put 1 in place of here and do the math. Just make this a little bigger. Okay. So if I'm going to go 6 times 1/3 raised to the 1 minus 1, you see I got 6. Okay. So 6 times 1 minus my r is the 1/3. And then that's being raised to the power 16 all over 1 minus 1/3. Okay. So I am going to put this in my calculator. So I'm going to be doing 6 times, maybe it's a little bigger. Okay, I'm going to be doing 6 times 1 minus 1/3 raised to the power 16 over 1 minus 1/3. Let me get rid of that. There. Okay, and when I put that in my calculator, I'm going to get 8.999999999. So that is going to be A9. Okay. So that's going to be our sum. On number 4, what is the sum of the series? Okay, and so looking at this, it looks like I am adding 8. I believe I'm adding 8. And so if I want to find a sub n, like a general equation, I'm starting with negative 2, I'm adding 8, since that's my first term, n minus 1 times. So if I want to know what term this is, I'm going to go 190 equals negative 2 plus 8 times n minus 1. So I'm going to get 192 is equal to 8 times n minus 1. So when I take 192 divided by 8, I end up getting 24. So this is going to be 24 is equal to n minus 1. So 25 is my n. So if I want the sum, the formula for the sum is S sub n is equal to n over 2 times A1 plus AN. So in our case, I want S sub 25, and I'm going to have 25 over 2 times my first term, which is -2, and my last term, which is 190. Okay, so when I get 25 over 2 times -2 plus 190, I end up with 2,350 as my sum. So on number 5, write a formula for the nth term for this. So looking at this, it looks like I'm minusing 5 each time. So if I want to find the nth term, that's going to be a sub n is equal to 54 minus 5 times n minus 1. If you want to clean it up, you can. That's acceptable. But if you want to clean it up, 54 minus 5n plus 5. So that's going to be 59 minus 5n. So either this is your equation where this 54 is your first term, or this is your equation where this 59 is your zero term. So solving, we're going to fraction this. So I am going to multiply everything by 35. So 6 over 7 minus 35 times 2x over 5 equals 35 times -2. Okay, so 7 goes into here 5 times, so I get a 30. 5 goes into here 7 times, I get a -14x. And on the other side, I get a -70. So I'm going to get a -14x is equal to a -100. I'm going to divide, and I get a -100 over -14. And if I want to clean that up and put in a -100 over -14, I end up with 50 over 7 as my answer. Okay, on 7, we're going to draw a triangle. And for this triangle, we have an A, B, C. Across from angle A is little a, which is 14. Across from angle B is little b, which is 15. Across from angle C is little c, which is 12. And we want to find angle B. That's the angle we want to find. Okay. So since I don't have any pairs, meaning those are across, I don't have that as a pair. My A and 14, I don't have that as a pair. My C and 12, again, I don't have that as a pair. So if I had an angle on the side opposite it, I would use law of sines. Since I don't, I'm going to use law of cosines. And I want to find B. Okay. So angle B. So I am going to do the following formula. So I'm going to write this formula 2 ways. One way is B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times cosine of B. Okay, where this letter B and this angle B, those are both in this problem. And the sides across from the angle you're not finding, the A and the C, here you put them A squared, C squared minus 2AC. So that's one formula. But if I rewrite that, okay, and I try to get my cosine by itself. So in order to get my cosine by itself, what I'm going to do is I am going to bring my 2AC cosine B to that side, and I am going to subtract my B squared to the other side. And then I'm going to have cosine B is equal to A squared plus C squared minus B squared over 2AC. So this is the formula I would use if I'm trying to find my angle B. But sometimes I can remember this one easier and then derive the other one. Okay, so I am going to have cosine of B is equal to A squared is 14, so that's 14 squared. B squared is going to be, sorry, not B squared, I want C squared. C squared is going to be 12 squared minus 2 minus, sorry, minus my B squared, apologize, all over 2 times my A times my C. Okay, now I can put that into my calculator, but I'm trying to find the angle B, not the cosine. So B is going to be cosine inverse of that whole entire thing. And I'm just going to put all of that into my calculator. You can put that in and get a number if you want, but I'm just going to put that whole thing into my calculator. And I want to make sure my calculator is in degrees for this when I'm doing this, because triangles are in degrees, not in degrees. Okay, so it is in degrees. Okay, so I'm going to do cosine inverse, and then I'm going to get my fraction, which is alpha y equal, and I'm going to do 14 squared minus 12, I'm sorry, plus 12 squared, plus 12 squared, minus 15 squared over 2 times 14 times 12. And I end up getting this equal to 69.99 degrees. So about 70. On number 8, we have a ball that's bouncing from 24 feet in the air. Its rebound ratio is 2/3. How far will it have traveled vertically total before it stops bouncing? So this is going to be a geometric, infinite geometric. So the sum of an infinite geometric is A1 over 1 minus R. And your R in absolute value has to be between 0 and 1. And our R is, because it is 2/3. That's going to be our R. So I am going to find my infinite sum. So my first, my A1 is going to be 24 over 1 minus 2/3. I can put this in my calculator, but this is going to be 24 over 1/3, which is going to be 24 times 3, or let's see, 72. Now, what happens is this is all of our ups or all of our downs. Okay, so I'm going 72 down, but I also have to go 72 up. So I'm going to double that answer, and I get 144 as my answer. On number 9, system of equations with 3 variables. I don't want to deal with my x's. I'm either going to deal with my y's or z's. I'm thinking it doesn't really matter. Let's say I do my y's. How would I do my y's? I could also have done my z's. Okay, so let's eliminate y. So I'm going to take this equation, times it by 4, and add it to this. So I'm going to keep the 3x plus 4y minus z equals 17. I'm timesing the second equation by a 4. And so I get 20x minus 4y plus 8z is equal to negative 8. I add that together. I get 23x, my y's cancel out, plus 7z is equal to 9. Okay, so let me just label these. This is equation 1, equation 2, equation 3. So I basically took 1 and 2, and I ended up with this fourth equation. So now I'm going to take that second equation, and instead of timesing it by a 4, I'm going to times it by a negative 3. So I'm going to take my second and third equation. I'm timesing my second one by a negative 3, so it's going to be a negative 15x plus 3y minus 6z is equal to 6. My second equation, 2x minus 3y plus 7z equals negative 21. I add them together. I get a negative 13x. My y's cancel out. Plus z is equal to a negative 15. So that is going to be equation 5. So now I'm going to take 4 and 5 and try to solve that system. So what I'm going to do is try to eliminate my z's at this point. So I am going to be multiplying this equation here by a negative 7. So I'm taking 4, which I'm going to keep. I'm taking 5, which I'm timesing by a negative 7. So negative 13 times 7, I end up with a 91. So I'm going to get a 91x minus 7z is equal to negative 7 is a 105. I can add these together, and I end up getting a 114x. My z's cancel out, is equal to 114. So that means x is going to be 1. I'm still not done with my purple system. I found my x. I need to find my y. Okay, I mean my z. So I am actually going to be taking number 5, but the pink number 5, negative 13 times 1 plus z equal negative 15. I think that's the easier equation for me to solve. So I'm going to get z is equal to, and I have a negative 13. I'm going to add it to the other side. I get a negative 2. So I've got my x and my z. So now I'm going to put that into one of the equations. I'm thinking I'm going to go back up here to the top, and I'm going to use this equation 2. So I am going to go 5 times 1 minus y plus 2 times negative 2 equals negative 2. So 5 minus y minus 4 equals negative 2. So 1 minus y equals negative 2. So I'm going to get 3 when I add my 2 over and take my y. So I get y equal 3. You write it as a point. And so I'm going to write my x, which is 1, my y, which is 3, my z, which is negative 2. On number 10, it's going to be like the problem I just did. I'm going to be doing a system of equations, okay? So I'm going to get negative 1 is equal to, let me write it like this. A times negative 3 squared plus b times negative 3 plus c. which is going to be -1 equals 9a minus 3b plus c. If I'm doing 2, 4, 4 is equal to a times 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c. So that's going to be 4 is equal to 4a plus 2b plus c. My 8 for my, so -6, 8, 8 for my y. A times -6 squared plus b times -6 plus c. So it's going to be 8 is equal to 36a minus 6b plus c. So I am going to eliminate my c's because that's the easiest to do. So I'm going to multiply, let's say I multiply this middle equation here by a -1. So I'm going to take my blue equation. -1 equals 9a minus 3b plus c. I'm going to add it to the one I'm timesing by -1. So it's going to be -4 equals -4a minus 2b minus c. I add that together and I get a -5 is equal to 5a minus 5b. I actually can divide everything by 5 and get a -1 is equal to a minus b. Okay, so now let me take the pink equation, which is 8 is equal to 36a minus 6b plus c. And I'm going to times it by the same orange one, which I had times by a -1. So that's going to be -4 equals -4a minus 2b minus c. And when I add that, I get 4 is equal to 32a minus 8b. I can divide everything by 4. So I get 1 is equal to 8a minus 2b. Okay, so I've got these two equations here, this one and this one. So I think if I multiply this one here by a -2, my b's will cancel out. So it's going to give me a +2 is equal to -2a plus 2b. And then I'm going to take that other equation, 1 is equal to 8a minus 2b. And when I add these together, I get 3 is equal to 6a. So a is equal to 1/2. Now I'm going to put that into one of these equations. So let's do it into this one. So 1 is equal to 1/2 of 8 is 4 minus 2b. So that's going to be a -3 is equal to a -2b. So I get a 3/2 for my b. And then I need to find my c. So if I come back up to my original problems, I think I'm going to actually use the one that I had times by this one right here, but I'm going to do it in before I time. So I'm going to do that one I just highlighted in yellow. So sorry, I'm writing big, running out of space. I'm going to write that part right here. So I'm going to go 4 is equal to, now my a is a half, so 4 times a half is 2. My b is 3/2, and 2 times 3/2 is actually 3 plus c. So that's going to be a 5. So I'm going to get -1 is equal to c. So my equation, if this is a parabola, is y is equal to my a 1/2 x squared plus my b 3 halves x minus 1. That's our equation. On 11, I am going to get my 2.1 to the power x by itself. I'm going to divide both sides by 54. And so I'm going to get 2.1x is equal to, and okay. So I'm going to go 918 divided by 54 is 17. Okay. And then you can log both sides, you can rewrite it in logarithmic form. This is log base 2.1 of 17 equals x. So if I do alpha window, number 5 is log base 2.1 of 17. And I get 3.82, let's say, is equal to my answer. And I could double check myself. So 54 times 2.1 raised to this power. And you see I get that answer. Okay. On number 12, sorry. I want to get this as a single logarithm. So that's going to be log base 4 of, and my x minus 12 are going to multiply. So I get an x squared minus 12x equals 3. I'm going to rewrite this in exponential form. So 4 to the third is equal to x squared minus 12x. 4 to the third is a 64, x squared minus 12x. So I'm going to have x squared minus 12x minus 64. And for that, I need to figure out what multiplies to a negative 64 and adds to 16. So off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that multiplies to a negative 64. Positive 64 would have been different, but a negative 64 and adds to negative 16. So I'm actually going to bring that 64 back over. And here, I'm actually going to just erase this. And I'm going to complete the square. You can also do quadratic formula. Okay, so I'm going to have 64 here. This is x squared minus 12x. And then I'm going to take half of negative 12, which is negative 6. And then I'm going to square that. And when I square that, I get a 36. So I'm going to add 36 here. And I'm going to add 36 here. And so I'm going to end up with 100 is equal to x minus 6 squared. So actually it looks like it's going to work out nice. So when I take the square root, I get a plus or minus 10 is equal to x minus 6. So I was thinking 16 and 4 before, which is going to give me a 12, but oh, I need it to be a negative. Okay, so that did work. Okay, so I'm going to get it this way, but I'll show you. I was thinking of it as a positive 64. Okay, so this is going to be x is equal to 6 plus or minus 10. So one answer is going to be 16, and the other answer is going to be a negative 4. But you always need to check and make sure that when you take the log of something, you never take a log of a negative. And so this answer right here, that negative 4 is not going to be an answer, 16 will. So here I could have, I was thinking of 16 and 4, but I was thinking it had to be positive. So it's x squared minus 12x minus 64. So this actually was factorable. A negative 16 and a positive 4 would have been the factors. And you see I get 16 and I get a negative 4. But again, you cannot take log of a negative, so this one's gone. It's just going to be a 16. Okay, so you can't think of factors. You can always do completing the square or quadratic formula. This one happened to be factorable. So I could have factored it. Okay, on 13, properties of logarithms, we're going to expand. So first off, let me just rewrite this. This is going to be log base 2 of, and my cube root of x to the 4th is really x to the 4 thirds over y to the 5th, z to the 8th. Again, that's a 4 thirds. I'm going to make that 4 look a little better. Okay. So now when I'm taking log of something to a power, the power moves in front. So I can write this as 4 thirds log base 2 of x minus, because it's on the bottom, 5 log base 2 of y minus 8 log base 2 of z. And that is your answer. On 14, we're going backwards. So first off, this can be log base 3. And when I have the 2/7 in front, my x is going to be raised to that power. So that's going to be the 7th root of x squared minus log base 3 of t to the 9th plus log base 3 of the cube root of u. Now I can write this as a single logarithm. I'm going to have the 7th root of x squared over t to the 9th. And then on top, I'm going to have the cube root of u. And that's our answer. Any of the pluses are going to be on top and any of the minuses are going to be on bottom. On 15, we have a car that's initial value was $42,900. It depreciates by 15%, which means 100% minus 15% is 85%. So I lost 15, I still have 85%. So my multiplier is 0.85. So I'm going to want to know when it is worth 10,000. If I'm starting with 42,900, times it by 0.85 to the power x. And I'm going to solve this using logarithms. So I'm going to divide both sides by 42900. And let me just get that in my calculator. Okay. So 10,000 divided by 42900 is, and I'm going to see if I can keep it as a fraction. So 100 over 429. I'm just going to keep it as a 100 over 429 is equal to 0.85x. I'm going to rewrite it in logarithmic form. So this is going to be log base 0.85 of 100 over 429 equals x. I'm going to put that in my calculator. Okay, so let me get my log. Oops, did that today. My log of 0.85, and then this is going to be 100 over 429, and I end up with 8.96 years. Okay. On number 16, we're solving this. I'm going to rewrite this in exponential form. 5 to the 3rd is equal to 4x plus 9. 125 is equal to 4x plus 9. When I subtract 9 from both sides, I get 116 is equal to 4x. 116 divided by 4 is 29. And you want to make sure that that doesn't make what you're taking log of negative, and it doesn't. So that's your answer. And that's the end of the final review number 2 for second semester.